So do I think Bronny belong in the league? Hell no. He ain't that good. He ain't even that good to be playing overseas against them overseas players.
Do that with nobody else.
I feel you.
If this was not LeBron James' son, the Lakers would not take the time to build with him and invest the time and the resources that they're doing if this wasn't LeBron James' son.
Yeah.
They're only doing this out of nepotism.
So do I think Bronny belong in the league? Hell no. He ain't that good. He ain't even that good to be playing overseas against them overseas players. Bronny need to be a high school assistant basketball coach or a PE teacher somewhere. But he ain't good enough to play in no more league.
JJ Redick was caught yelling from the sidelines, tension boiling over in real time. A G League coach physically ushered him toward the tunnel until he finally walked off, right in the middle of the game. Stephen A. Smith publicly labeled him unready. And moments later, LeBron James stepped in face-to-face, courtside, cameras rolling, no hiding from it at all. This is Bronny James, and that clip did not just trend, it detonated across the internet. Let's slow this down and really break it apart, because moments like this go way beyond basketball and straight into pressure, expectation, and reality crashing together. Every once in a while, sports delivers a moment that cuts through everything else. Not highlights, not stats, but raw tension you can feel through the screen. This was one of those moments. Not polished, not controlled, just pure friction between chasing greatness and carrying a name that weighs a ton. And here's the question everyone keeps circling back to, whether they want to admit it or not. Is Bronny James actually ready for this level right now? Here's why this moment hit so hard. Bronny James was selected by the Los Angeles Lakers as the 55th overall pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, a move that instantly lit up debates everywhere. Even deep into 2025, that pick still gets argued about daily, because this was never just a basketball decision in the public eye. Bronny entered the league carrying something no other rookie has ever carried quite like this. He is not just a player, he is a symbol. A symbol of legacy, expectation, access, and everything people argue about when it comes to opportunity in pro sports. And when you look at the numbers, they paint a rough picture. By late 2025, Bronny had appeared in only 10 NBA games, averaging just 2.1 points and 1.8 assists. His shooting sat at 29.6% from the field and 27.3% from deep, numbers that make critics lean forward and start asking uncomfortable questions. This league shows no mercy. There is no patience, no grace period, and no room to hide behind potential when results are demanded every night. But here's where the story really explodes. Bronny signed a 4-year, $7.9 million fully guaranteed contract. For a late second-round pick, that kind of security is extremely rare, and everyone knows it. That detail alone poured gasoline on an already raging conversation. Because now this is not just about development, it is about fairness, expectations, and whether the pressure surrounding Bronny is helping him grow or pushing him into moments he is still trying to survive.
Is it fair? No. But life ain't fair, young people. Homie, sometimes you can work hard and not go nowhere in life. Sometimes you can do everything right, work hard.
Up in regards to the nepotism, because I don't want to hear it either, and I really appreciate and applaud you for bringing it up, because you hear people mumbling about that in the weeks and the days leading up to the draft. It is something that has permeated throughout the NBA for quite some time, okay? And on all levels, and no one has said anything. It's never been an issue that I can remember.
Most players taken around that draft spot land on two-way contracts with almost no safety net at all. Limited guarantees, short leashes, constant pressure to prove yourself every single night. That level of money, that level of security, paired with those numbers, it just does not happen. It doesn't happen in this league, not unless your last name already opens doors. And that's where the conversation really starts heating up. Reports began circulating that Rich Paul, LeBron's longtime agent and the founder of Clutch Sports, warned teams against selecting Bronny. According to those reports, teams were allegedly told that if Bronny wasn't drafted where certain people wanted, he might take his talents overseas instead of entering the NBA right away. That move changed everything. Whether you believe it was strategy or leverage, the end result was clear. The situation effectively funneled Bronny straight to the Lakers, lining up perfectly with LeBron's long-stated dream of sharing the court with his son. For some fans, that was a beautiful full-circle moment. For others, it felt like the league bending in real time. And that brings us straight to the footage that completely hijacked the internet. The first clip that went absolutely nuclear happened during a Lakers game, when head coach J.J. Redick was caught on camera going off from the sidelines. You could see the frustration pouring out of him. This wasn't subtle coaching, this was raw, emotional, caught in 4K intensity. The incident reportedly followed a moment where Bronny passed up a clean, open jumper. In basketball terms, that's a major no-no, especially when your coach is preaching the 0.5 mentality, meaning you decide fast, shoot, pass, or drive within half a second. According to multiple reports, Redick shouted at Bronny, telling him, "You've got to shoot the expletive ball," a line that summed up just how fed up the moment had become. In that game, Bronny logged 10 minutes and took only 2 shots. 2 shots in 10 minutes, let that sink in. That kind of hesitation is rare at this level. Players fighting for real NBA minutes usually do the opposite. They force the issue, sometimes too much. Playing that passively sends a loud message, whether you mean it to or not. The clip spread instantly. Views skyrocketed, memes flooded timelines, and hot takes came from every corner of sports media. Some praised Redick, saying he was doing his job and holding Bronny to the same standard as everyone else. Others fired back, arguing that publicly going at a 21-year-old who's already under a microscope only adds more pressure. Then Charleston White jumped into the conversation, never one to hold back. He boiled the entire debate down to one brutal line that hit like a punch to the chest. He didn't earn it.
When I talked about Bronny James early in the season, and I highlighted the fact that at that particular moment in time, he simply was not ready, I was calling out LeBron James. LeBron James never addresses that with anybody, and for some reason, no one ever asked him about that. Wasn't it you who said that Bronny James was better than some players in the NBA right now before he was even drafted? Wasn't it you who said, if you want me, draft my son because you wanted to play with your son for 1 year? Wasn't it you who literally circumvented meritocracy within the National Basketball Association? He's lying when he says that I attacked his son. When he came up to me courtside at the Lakers-Knicks game, he was lying then. He threw me off guard because he said, you can't be pooping on my son because we obey.
Bronny's freshman season at USC was, by any honest standard, underwhelming. He averaged just 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game while shooting 36.6% from the field across 25 games. For a player declaring for the NBA draft after only 1 season, those numbers usually tell one story only: undrafted, end of discussion. That is how this league normally works. No mystery, no debate, no second chances. But that is not how this played out, and everybody watching knows exactly why. After the Redick blow-up, Bronny faced reporters and handled it with a calm that caught people off guard. No excuses, no finger-pointing. He explained that he was focusing on playing off the ball and even credited the tough coaching. He said, "We're talking about the ball handlers on the parent team," and added that he needed to shoot when open and be effective without the ball. That response sounded polished, measured, and mature. And for a moment, the numbers backed him up. Shortly after that incident, Bronny returned to the G League on November 22, 2025, and delivered what many called his best performance of the season. He dropped 15 points on 5 of 10 shooting, dished out 8 assists, grabbed 4 rebounds, and added 3 steals in a 115-95 win over the Santa Cruz Warriors. For a brief window, it looked like momentum was finally shifting, but that calm did not last. Just weeks later, another clip surfaced, and this one made the Redick moment look mild by comparison. In December 2025, during a G League game with the South Bay Lakers, Bronny got into a heated clash with a coach believed to be either interim head coach Perry Huang or an assistant. The footage showed clear tension, sharp words, and an intense back and forth over decision-making and what sources described as a slow start. Then came the moment that stunned everyone watching. Bronny walked off the court mid-exchange. Let that sink in. He walked off the court while the argument was still happening. The video hit YouTube on December 5th, 2025, under the title "Bronny James Walks Off Court Heated Clash with G League Coach," and it spread fast. The internet latched on instantly, and the box score that night did him no favors. Bronny finished with 10 points on 4 of 12 shooting, went 0 for 5 from 3, added 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and committed 4 turnovers. That is not the kind of stat line that gives you leverage in a disagreement with your coach. Now let's be very clear here. There was no physical altercation, no punches, no contact, nothing like that. This was not a fight in the traditional sense. It was verbal, but the intensity captured on camera changed everything. Once that clip went public, the conversation around Bronny shifted hard. On social media, fans argued nonstop about coaching styles and accountability. Some defended Redick and the G League staff, saying this is exactly the kind of pressure every young player needs. Others pushed back, saying the spotlight on Bronny is already heavy, and moments like this only pile on more stress.
See, airways, you can't be doing that. I didn't know what he was talking about, so it threw me off. Had he came up to me and said, "What the hell are you doing talking about me as a father?" I would say it's because of what you were doing with your son on the basketball court for public consumption.
LeBron's public.
The only reason he's in the NBA because he's LeBron's son. Nepotism, brother. Stephen A. got the right to say that. You can't get mad at me about my opinion.
Maybe that's the real tragedy here. A young man trying to find his way in the
Earning his stripes and participating against that lesser competition and busting there, you know what, to show that he deserves to be in the NBA. Because even though people are gonna hate no matter what, the legitimacy of their arguments are gonna dissipate drastically once you continue to show out like that. Once you continue to show that you belong like you started showing last night. Congratulations to Bronny James, but keep it up. It's a marathon, baby, it ain't a sprint.
Former players jumped in too. Kwame Brown claimed Bronny's NBA spot exists only because of LeBron. Chandler Parsons labeled the draft pick as embarrassing nepotism. Those words hit loud and they stuck. And that is where this stops being just about missed shots or tough coaching. This is where the story cracks open into something bigger. The nepotism debate refuses to fade, and it is now front and center. Here is the uncomfortable truth shaking the entire conversation. The debate has turned into a full-blown culture war. But here's the twist nobody wants to slow down and examine yet. There is another side to this story, and not everyone believes LeBron did something wrong. In fact, some people argue this is exactly what any good father would do. Protect your kid, open doors where you can, and give them a chance to compete. That argument has been gaining real traction, whether critics like it or not. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski dismissed the nepotism outrage outright, saying the NBA has been built on nepotism for decades. Ownership, front offices, coaching staffs, it's everywhere, and he's not wrong at all. The Buss family has controlled the Los Angeles Lakers since 1979. Danny Ainge's son rose into power with the Jazz. Mike Malone's father was a legendary assistant who helped launch his career. Josh Kroenke runs the Nuggets because his father, Stan Kroenke, owns the team. The Colangelo family has had influence across multiple NBA front offices for generations. This league is full of last names that matter, always has been. Some cultural commentators even took it further, framing the Bronny situation as black nepotism used as a flex. Their argument is simple and uncomfortable for some people to hear. Minority families rarely get access to these power structures, systems historically dominated by wealthy white dynasties. In that view, LeBron helping his son is simply doing what those families have done quietly for decades, just out in the open this time. But one voice cut through all the noise and actually made people pause. That voice was Stephen A. Smith. Before we get into what he said, you need the backstory. In March 2025, LeBron James confronted Stephen A. courtside during a Lakers versus Knicks game. Cameras caught it, clips flew everywhere, and Stephen A. was forced to address it publicly. Then things got even messier. After LeBron went on Pat McAfee's show and responded directly, Stephen A. went back on his own show and completely flipped the tone of the conversation. What followed was one of the most intense media back and forths this saga has produced. Stephen A. went on an absolute tear defending his stance with that trademark fire. No filter, no backing down, no soft landing.
We're not rolling the dice. There was not enough data on it. It's like you have a cardiac arrest. It is over. We don't want this on our resume. They was not going back to perform the play. And he told me, he was like, man, I'm gonna be honest, it took me about 2.5 years to finally get back to just normalcy. Like my body, my mind, and he said when it happened to me, I was 23 years old. Bronny was 19 years old, and he said it's gonna take a little time, and I reason with that, but also he's doing things right now less than 2 years.
Yeah.
You know,
LeBron ain't perfect, and I'm one of the first to point out his imperfections on the basketball court, of course, nowhere else. But let me tell you something. He's an all-time great. He's never cheated the game. And that brother works his tail off to improve all the time. Emulate Pops to the best of your ability, and you'll be just fine.
LeBron's own comments didn't calm anything either. He famously claimed that Bronny was better than half the dudes on League Pass before Bronny was even drafted. That statement did not age well, and critics haven't let it go since. At this point, the debate has swallowed everything. Every game Bronny plays, every missed shot, every sideline blow-up caught on camera gets dragged back into the same argument. Does he deserve this spot or not? Maybe that's the real problem here. A young player trying to figure himself out in the most unforgiving league on earth, while nobody talks about development, patience, or growth. It's always about his last name. So where does this actually leave Bronny James? Where does it leave the Lakers? And where does it leave a basketball audience so locked into the drama that it can barely see anything else? Let's slow it down and look at what we actually know. By January 2026, Bronny had played in 45 total games across NBA and G League action. His averages sat at 1.6 points, 1.1 assists, and 0.8 rebounds, shooting 30.2% from the field and 25.0% from three with a negative net rating. Those numbers are rough, no sugarcoating that. But they don't tell the full story. There have been flashes, real flashes. On December 31st, 2025, Bronny put together what many called a breakthrough G League performance. 20 points on 8 of 11 shooting, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists against the Memphis Hustle. That's the kind of night that changes how coaches look at you. That's the kind of night that makes people pause and say, wait a second. His strengths are becoming clearer. Defensive IQ, athleticism, playmaking in transition, occasional bursts of aggression attacking the basket. His weaknesses are just as obvious. Inconsistent shooting, a career 27.3% from deep, decision-making issues, a low assist-to-turnover ratio, and being undersized for his position. But there's context everyone keeps ignoring. In July 2023, Bronny experienced a serious cardiac event during a USC practice caused by a congenital heart condition. He required surgery and missed a significant portion of his college season. That is not a small setback. That is not something a teenager just shakes off casually. For a 19-year-old to go through something like that, to confront his own fragility, then return to elite competition, that takes serious mental strength. Bronny himself addressed the elephant in the room during a rare March 2025 interview with The Athletic. He acknowledged the nepotism talk was inevitable, but said it fuels him. He admitted, "I see everything, it fuels me a little bit." And that line might matter more than any stat sheet, because beneath all the chaos, the cameras, and the arguments, there's still a young player trying to turn pressure into progress. And yet, despite all the noise, the Lakers keep showing patience. As of January 2026, there have been no trades, no cuts, no sudden moves. Even with Bronny's inefficiency, the organization sitting at a 25-20 record appears locked in on the long game, not panic decisions.
You turn it over in practice, I'm gonna say something to you. You do something on film, I'm gonna say something to you. That's the only way it works, because as we all know, and you've been around teams, the second the rules are different for him, you might lose the other players on the team. So you have to go into this with a plan, but the plan is simple, Malika. Do the right thing. The right thing is coach him to win.
The analysts who have studied his trajectory most closely predict 2 possible outcomes.
What's next season gonna be like for LeBron James? Hear me out. Your son is now a member of the team. Regardless of how wrong we know people are going to be, they're gonna be throwing nepotism in LeBron's face. They're going to be throwing to some of the teammates. Remember, Udonis Haslem said weeks ago, you're going to have people in the Laker locker room once J.J. Redick arrived, because it's not just LeBron, not just Bronny James that's arrived. It's J.J. Redick, who you were doing the podcast with during the season, that arrived.
But as a parent, what is any stronger? What pulls at you more than your children? I don't think anything. I don't think anything in the world matters to a parent more than their child. And so to go through a season with your son, I'm imagining no one's ever really, there's no blueprint for that. I don't know that anybody's ever done that. So there will be some amazing highs and there will be some lows.
Analysts who've tracked his path closely see 2 realistic outcomes. Either Bronny develops into a legit defensive specialist and role player, think a gritty glue guy in the mold of someone like Colin Gillespie, or the struggles continue until LeBron steps away, rumored around 2026 or 2027, when that patience might finally wear thin. But here's the twist most people miss. The biggest question might not even be about Bronny at all. It might be about us, about how we consume sports now, about the stories we reward, the outrage we amplify, and whether we even allow young players room to breathe anymore in an era of instant judgment and non-stop viral clips. The JJ Redick sideline blow-up and the G League walk-off didn't just expose Bronny. They became Rorschach tests for fans everywhere. Some people see accountability and hard coaching. Others see unnecessary pressure and public embarrassment. Some see a father's love warping a league built on merit. Others see a system finally opening doors that were historically closed to certain families. And the truth, as usual, probably lives somewhere in the messy middle. Here's the reality. Bronny James is not an NBA caliber player right now. That's not hate, that's just where things stand today. But whether he can become one, whether he's given the time, patience, and space to grow into one, that's the real story still unfolding. As long as his father remains one of the most legendary figures the sport has ever seen. As long as debates about nepotism and merit keep raging. As long as every single moment of his career gets clipped, judged, and memed into oblivion. Bronny James will remain one of the most fascinating, frustrating, and deeply human stories in professional sports. At the end of the day, he's just a 21-year-old trying to figure himself out, not as LeBron James's son, but as Bronny James, a basketball player. Whether the world will actually let him do that part is still undecided. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Click one of the videos on your screen right now for more stories just like this, and I'll see you in the next one.